Think back to Ottawa's tech scene in the 1990s. They were boom times. Ottawa was making global business headlines. Companies were hiring like crazy. They were also asserting their brands, naming hockey arenas, putting signs on the side of gold colored buildings. Today, we talk with the CEO of one of those iconic 1990s companies and how it's undergoing a big evolution. Coming up on Techopia Live. Hello, I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Welcome to Techopia Live. This is a regular podcast from OBJ that features executives from next generation technology companies. We want to shine a spotlight on the up and comers, and we want to keep you updated on the established players, all with a goal of keeping the tech sector informed and connected. Looking forward to today. In today's episode, we go back to the future, so to speak. We're talking to the CEO of one of Ottawa's most iconic technology companies. This is a 37-year-old company that at the height of the dot-com telecom boom really represented Ottawa's global reach. Its brand included a multicolored hot air balloon. We're going to be talking branding today. Have you guessed who I'm talking about? Well, let's get some clarity. Please welcome the CEO of Corel. Well, sort of. I'll explain that in a moment. Here is Christa Quarles from San Mateo, California. Hello, Krista.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So when you're introduced now as the, and we'll get to this in just a second, as the CEO of Corel, we go asterisks. That was maybe 3 days ago that was accurate and not so much no. You haven't changed positions, but the company's name has changed. But let's start off by getting to know you a little bit, Krista. So maybe you could take a minute to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your career path and how you ended up in the CEO chair.
Yeah, I have an interesting. I grew up outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so good Pittsburgh Penguin fan for all of you out there. Stayed local, went to Carnegie Mellon, and then went to work on Wall Street and had a very long career. Really analyzing what the new growth companies of the tech landscape are going to look like. And at some point I got tired sitting on the sidelines and I went to a startup. That startup sold to the Walt Disney Company and really thus began my operating and business career. After Disney, I went to a company called Open Table and was the CEO there. You might have tried it if you're out dining in a fine dining restaurant. And it was really during the pandemic that I got this call from KKR and they said, hey, how about Corel? And in my mind, I hadn't heard much about Corel in a long time. I said, you mean like CorelDraw from the 90s? And they said, but it's more than that now. Let us tell you more. And that really began the conversation for me and what got me intrigued as to what this company had truly been doing for the last number of years, because I think it really was under the radar.
And I think it still is under the radar. We're going to talk about the company in its entirety, but let's get down to the news, I would say of the day, but it's from a few days ago. So as I said off the onset, Corel is an iconic company in Ottawa. You have an appreciation for that. And after 37 years, there's going to be a big change in the brand. So it's bye-bye Corel, hello, Alludo.
Yes. So Alludo, first of all, it's a nod to our larger size and the number of companies and really software products that we offer. What it enables and empowers is for all you do. So Alludo. But what it was born out of was really this idea that I did know about Corel, CorelDraw, and Paint, and some of the other products that we had within the graphic design sector. But I honestly had no idea when I first joined the company that WinZip was a part of the mix, or Parallels, which helps you run Windows on a Mac, was part of the mix. And it became clearer and clearer in conversations that I was having with both internal and external stakeholders that we, to some degree, stood for more than a piece of graphic design software. And now when we think about it, when we say, Alludo, all you do, we really think about enabling a workspace. So in the case of Parallels, enabling any application on any operating system on any device, and then ideate, create, share. So our Mind Manager product helps you ideate. Our CorelDraw product helps you create and our WinZip products helps you share securely. And so really creating these pillars for what we believe work needs to do in everybody's daily lives, because at the end of the day, we honestly believe that if you work better, you will live better. And we've all learned this during the pandemic, that life and work kind of get intertwined. And to the extent that we can help you as an organization do all that better, more efficiently, and create the freedom that we know that you're seeking, we will do a better job as a company.
And I get the point that if you're a multi-product software company, Corel's brand was maybe helping you with CorelDraw, but it wasn't necessarily helping with the other products. I should clarify too, by the way, Krista, so CorelDraw will still be the name of that particular product.
Absolutely. We're not, the name Corel will continue, and it is a beloved brand by many creators around the world. And, we wouldn't want to disrupt that, but it was really about the parent, the umbrella, the structure that sat across all the different brands. And then more importantly, one of our ambitions is also to grow both organically and inorganically, meaning mergers and acquisitions. And so to the extent that we think about adding additional brands into the mix, we want to be able to create a space where it makes sense for those to live across the other brands that we have.
Understood for sure. And from our parochial perspective, and I do understand it's parochial here in Ottawa, there's a lot of nostalgia around the Corel brand. By the way, we did a story a few days back on the name change and even talked to Corel alumni, and they said, yeah, makes sense to me. So even the nostalgic people are understanding the business decision here. I did want to ask though, so Corel was founded here, was a big part of the .com and telecom boom software in this particular case. We all have memories of a sports stadium, a hockey stadium bearing your name. Yeah, 1600 Carling is still iconic to me. The gold, I drive by it still, the gold colored building used to say Corel. What's the continued connection to Ottawa, I guess is my question.
I think one of the things, well, first of all, Ottawa is our home, our original home. We have a lot of employees there. We're hiring in Ottawa. So if anybody wants to come work at Alludo, formerly known as Corel, we are hiring. But as the pandemic showed us that we are, as workers, becoming a bit more separated from the places that we work. I'm, outside my bedroom right now. And I think we've seen dogs and cats and babies walking in and around the screen. And so what we have leaned into as an organization is to be a remote first organization. We surveyed our employees and 95% said that they would prefer working remotely. And the other 5%, by the way, said they didn't care, which meant that we had a radical consensus to say, I want to work where I want to work, when I want to work, how I want to work, because I know how to work best in my environments. And so we become, to some degree, a little bit more detached from location, but that doesn't mean we don't gather and we don't pull people together. We just had a big launch party in Ottawa just a couple of days ago. And the idea of gathering our teams that are central to Ottawa continues to be an important part of the strategy. The goal building, however, may not necessarily serve our needs and purposes. And so I recognize the iconic nature of that building, but we actually have a space to move into that creates more open, collaborative style where people can still have their personal productivity pod in their house or their location that they want it to be. And then when we gather, we have an infrastructure and a space that really supports the kind of work we need to do when we get all together.
I completely get that point that, the workspace really needs to be thought of in a different way. Listen, Krista, I'm eager to dig into all sorts of more details about Alludo, the different products within the company, and also keep talking about your sense of where kind of the future of work is going. But before we do that, I just want to pause our conversation to recognize the sponsor of this episode, Number Crunch.
Number Crunch is an Ottawa-based firm that allows you to outsource your financials, especially if you're a technology startup or early-stage company. Number Crunch services range from bookkeeping, accounts receivable, and monthly reconciliations to full virtual CFO services, including investment preparation and cash flow forecasting. Number Crunch is led by Susan Richards and Craig Hung. Combined, they have more than 40 years of financial experience in this market, having advised dozens of firms. Number Crunch will help your company mitigate risk by ensuring proper accounting procedures, provide you with strategic input, and scale along with your business. To get a quote on outsourcing your accounting, please visit numbercrunch.ca.
Hello, we are back with Christa Quarles, the former CEO of Corel. She understands what I say by that. The company's now called Alludo. And I do want to zoom out with you, Christa, now. Again, we know CorelDraw, but you've mentioned some other products that are part of the company. So give us the modern day definition of what Alludo does.
Alludo really is about empowering work whenever and wherever you are. I mean, we have this swag, and you got to choose which tote bag. And maybe because my kids do play hockey, we say 9 to 5 is a hockey score, not a work schedule. And what we mean by that is that, knowledge work is not factory work. And we acknowledge and value people who work in that way, where you've got to put a widget into something and move it along a pathway. That's not what knowledge work is. And it's really more of a creative pursuit. And what we have found and what we have observed, frankly, is that trying to put a bunch of bounds and strictures, I mean, there's even software now that will monitor your keystrokes. And if you're not making enough keystrokes within a certain period of time, you're clearly idle. You just be a bird with a strong beak and show that you're being effective in that system. We wanted to create a system where, honestly, the time for ideas and inspiration were everywhere. And we've to some degree flipped the stakeholder model on its head. And we said, hey, if we made our employees our number one stakeholder, where we value what they do and we get them to truly have flexibility. That's one of if you look at the colors of Alludo, you'll see this kind of yellow for the morning and teal for the afternoon. And you'll see this like bluey purple for the evening. And the idea around our colors was just that ideas and vision and creativity can strike at any moment. We don't want to be bound by the 9 to 5, as we say. And so this is really about finding software that stretches the limits of where things are possible. And it really is about knowledge workers. So it is about helping somebody get their job done better than they otherwise would have. And so if we make our employees happy, our customers are probably going to be happy. And if we make our employees and customers happy, I'm pretty sure our investors are going to be happy too. And so it really is about recognizing what our priorities are within the system.
It makes sense to me. By the way, 9 to 5's hockey score if you got a bad goalie, but
or bad defense, really.
Bad defense. Someone's to blame. If it gets a 9 to 5, yeah, someone's to blame. And can you give us a sense? I want to talk about the actual products that are in the company, but can you give us a sense of the size of the company at this point? In terms of number of employees or revenue range, or however you want to quantify that.
Yeah, because we're still a private company, we don't talk about our revenue externally, but we're about 750 employees around the world. And that's just direct employees. We employ a number of contractors in global arenas as well. And so we continue to grow too. I think that's an important part of the equation. We have a lot we want to do. We have big ambition, and this is really also about growth as well.
So CorelDraw, WinZip, I think everyone's kind of familiar with those two. Maybe parallels and maybe some other products, but give us a sense of what else is in the company from a product portfolio standpoint.
Yeah, so again, CorelDraw, the entire graphics suite outside of CorelDraw itself, helping people within the vector landscape, which is just really highly pixelated art opportunity. In the case of My Manager, we help companies like Volkswagen manage their production process and how do I move a car down the line. So it's involved in many different types of companies, but that's a way that we've seen it get used. Parallels is a good example where a lot of people do know it as being able to run Windows on a Mac computer. However, it's more than that now. We're enabling IT departments to distribute applications to their employee bases. So it's really an IT infrastructure product that was a godsend in the pandemic. We helped school systems, get applications out to students and things like that. So it's really about being able to be any streaming any application on any operating system on any device. And we now just bought a company out of Belgium that enables you to run it on a browser. So truly freeing you up to work in a highly secure way across many different companies. And then, WinZip, which a lot of people in their mind's eye might think about the old compression concept, but really it's about encryption. So when your document is with you, to make sure that that's safe. And then if you're sending that document, that document continues to stay safe. And I think what you're seeing across software and frankly the world of work is people are not in an office anymore, and so the software needs to respond to the fact from a security standpoint, from a cloud standpoint, from a collaboration standpoint, and we're leaning into all of that with all of our products.
Very neat. We got a couple more questions, then we'll wrap. But I want to ask you, let's continue looking to the future. So you got a brand new, exciting brand. You've got a new vision of how you work fit into an evolving work world. What can we expect from Alludo, let's say, in the next 12 months or so?
I think you're going to expect, first of all, some really fun and interesting product announcements. We just actually made an announcement on our graphics portfolio that enables it to connect to the cloud. We're going to continue to do that across all of our portfolios. And so we're investing in our teams and trying to innovate across our products. You'll probably see some M&A as well. So keep an eye out for that as we continue to extend the umbrella of Alludo across additional software assets as well.
That's excellent. Before we wrap, Krista, our lead sponsor is EY, Ernst & Young, here at Techopia. And as you probably know, you've heard their slogan, it's building a better working world. So I want to ask you about that. So how is Alludo, or you as a CEO, building a better working world?
I think that, and I love the way that they phrase it, because I think that is almost identical to our mission in many ways, which is, I think when you work better, you live better. And so how do you do that? And I think this moment in time is quite interesting, where it's almost an identity crisis for leaders in the sense that some of them just want to go back to the way that it was. They just want to get people back in the office. And if I can't get them 5 days a week, I'll get them 2 to 3 days a week. And I think when you really peel back the onion and get at the intention of that, why? What are you trying to accomplish? And I think we are taking that, build a better working world, and really reimagining that for our company. And we call it Work 3, which is just a new way of approaching all of the old paradigms that we thought were important about how work got done. And we're upending them, and we're questioning not just at the, at the employee level, but my level. I've got to lead differently as a result of the remote workforce, but also in this post-pandemic work that we are getting done here.
Krista, a big thank you for joining us today. I know you're super busy as the CEO of Alludo. Continued success. Hope to see you when you're in Ottawa. Bye-bye.
Well, we love the OBJ. Bye.
Okay, thanks. All right, before we wrap, let's take a look at some of the other sponsors that are part of our Techopia partnership. Techopia is brought to you by many great sponsors, such as EY, building a better working world; Number Crunch, offering virtual CFO services for SaaS companies; Perley Robertson Hill and McDougall, a leader in business and technology sector law; TD Bank, specialized programs for technology companies; the University of Ottawa Faculty of Engineering, creating the next generation of technical talent; Calian, innovative solutions delivered with integrity. Techopia is not only a podcast. We post new articles daily at obj.ca/Techopia. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, you can find Techopia at Techopia OTT. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and click the bell icon. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Christa Quarles, the CEO of Alludo, formerly called Corel. And I want to thank you also for tuning in, watching us on YouTube or listening to us. We got a lot of great episodes coming up. In fact, one of them will be with the OBJ Ottawa Board of Trade CEO of the Year for 2022, the 23rd time we've handed out that award. Kyle Bratz will be on Techopia in weeks to come. Of course, Kyle's from a very exciting company called FullScript. We hope Techopia is keeping you connected and informed. Let's keep building Ottawa's technology utopia. That is Techopia. See you soon. Bye-bye.